Just start singing.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Xmas You Enthusiasm. Thanks for joining us, and by us, of course, I mean me. Today's episode is going to be The Therapists from Season 6, Episode 9. It came out on November 4th, 2007. I don't know why I tell y'all that. I believe this is the one that stars, has a little cameo with one of my favorites, British national treasure, of course, Steve Coogan, in one of his mini roles during which he desperately tries to act like anybody wants to see him in anything that's not Alan Partridge. He's constantly, I'm going to leave out. This isn't a British accent, by the way. I'm going to leave Alan behind and go be a serious this, a serious that. And then a year later comes crawling back, hey guys, remember Alan Partridge? Here's a new one. But love him. So looking forward to that. Also, don't forget, Season 4 of Xmas You Enthusiasm is brought to you by Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers, you're the one who took the wrong exit. You eat the shit. Tonight's a little different. This episode's a little different in that I only really want to talk about one thing before we get into the episode. Two things now I'm thinking about it. I got to call out this Panera. As you people know, I'm a valued member of the Panera Sip Club. Easy, ladies. Yes, you may slide into my DMs. And so, I live next to Panera. And they also have next to Panera these great benches, these two benches, great spot to sit in. I love to, sit and hang out. But there's a bike lane right there. And are there bikes sailing through, you ask? No, because it's basically a fucking parking lot. And at first, when I'd see people be parked there for minutes on it, I thought, I don't know, I give them the benefit of that. I think they're just running into Panera frantically, trying to, so they're not parked. No. A lot of these motherfuckers, not all of them, a lot of these motherfuckers I'm learning are just parking there, sometimes with their hazards, sometimes not. Again, this is a bike lane. You're not supposed to park there. These motherfuckers parking there and then breezing their asses over to Wegmans to do the big fucking shop for the week. I mean, the other day I clocked this motherfucker. I was going to sit there and wait him out, even if it took 40 minutes, but I was like, all right, look, even I can't become the guy that fucking does that and then admits it publicly. But I don't know. I don't want to be the guy that calls 311 or 411 or whatever 11 to narc on these motherfuckers. And I don't know why the Panera people, the company, they did deal with it. But anyway, we got to cut this bullshit. And if I have to throw my weight around, so to speak, about being a valued member of the Panera Sip Club, I will. I don't want it to come to that. I don't think anybody does. Let's hope it doesn't. But they got to clean up that bullshit. Now, the main thing I actually want to talk about is last night I went to the theater, which that happens about once a millennium, to see the Brothers McMullen 30-year follow-up by, of course, Ed Burns, the Family McMullen. This is what's the family up to 30 years later? I won't give away any spoilers, I don't think, really. I doubt anybody, based on the movie theater I was at, nobody's going to see it. It was just me, and then three women a couple of rows behind me who laughed their heads off at everything Ed Burns said. So, but there's something odd that's affecting me about this movie. I don't know if it's really affecting me, it had already started leaning towards this with, number one, the Oasis thing, the reunion, and all of a sudden everybody's just bathing themselves in 90s nostalgia. Not really me. I don't know. That wasn't my thing. Two, the second thing that happened is the Beatles announced a fourth part to their incredible anthology from, say it with me, 30 years ago. So that hit me like a ton of bricks. Now we're coming up on the 30-year anniversary of the Beatles anthology. It came out, I think, Thanksgiving week, 1995. And that had a huge effect on me. I just become the super Beatles fan I was born to be. And it was like served on a platter for me. Okay, now, Xmas time, you are now ready to take this step with us. And it was just an amazing, all I remember thinking is, I can't believe anybody on the planet is not watching this right now. So anyway, and also, Paul McCartney is almost 30 years, he's like 30 years and 1 month older than me. So, you have that 2 at the end of your birth year. So, you always just connect somehow with shit like that. Look, as a musician, I'm not saying, nobody's saying that I'm Paul McCartney. Paul's words, not mine. Also, just that August, I'd gone up to New York City to record my EP, which is still probably the coolest thing I've ever done. It was like folded into the anthology coming out. It just felt like a magical time anyway for me. So I wonder if that's what I'm leaning into, which is silly. Like there's some sort of connection to all of those things, which is silly and which is stupid. But, this is what I'm talking about. So, but, it's just one of these things where, like, once now I realize, oh, shit, now I'm the same age Paul McCartney was 30 years ago when the Beatles anthology came out. And I don't know what I make of that. I don't know if I should be depressed or happy. I made it that 30 years. So did Paul. But there's something to that I can't put my brain on right now, but it kind of collided last night watching the Family McMullen. Now, was this a good movie? No, it's not a good movie. Sorry. But did I love it? Did it scratch every itch I had as a Ed Burns guy who loved the Brothers McMullen, loved She's the One, loved No Looking Back? Thank you, John Bon Jovi. Great job. I didn't think I'd say those words on this ever. I don't know why it can't be streaming anywhere, but whatever. Anyway, and plus, according to 23andMe, I'm 9,000% Irish. So I was always like, I just love Ed Burns, and I love those movies. And I'm sure, but the thing is, I'm sure at some point over the 30 years, whether I thought it or not, of course I would have loved the Brothers McMullen sequel or update. But that's just one of the things that you just thought was never going to happen. And then all of a sudden, boom, it happens. Now, this was a little extra different because there was no, boom, all of a sudden, like a week ago, it's announced, one night only, you can go see this movie. So it's not like I had months to build up to it or anything. No, what the fuck was I saying? But yeah, so then this is announced, and it's like you have this weird thing where you have this dream come true of a dream you didn't even know you could dream, but then once it happened, it seems inevitable. That doesn't make any fucking sense, and yet it does, and you know what I'm fucking talking about. And of course, but ironically, because you go into watching this movie and you're like, all right, I love Ed Burns, I love this movie, I love Mike McGlone. I got a little story about him. I'll tell you in a minute. Of course I'm going to fucking pay the $17 or whatever to go watch it. Of course I know it's not going to be a great movie in and of itself. But I did not expect that by the end of it, I was like, I wanted more nostalgia in that they really over-leveraged on the... Basically, it's like what was happening 30 years ago, but now it's updated. It's like they're kids. But it's, Ed Burns' character, his younger brother, Mike McGlone, and, of course, America's sweetheart, Connie Britton. And now they have these kids, and now we kind of seeing things through the kids' eyes, and it's kind of like, even that's a callback because they kind of match up with the previous characters. Okay, great, whatever. After about a couple minutes, you realize, I really don't give a shit about any of these kids. No sweating on the actors, whatever, I'm sure they're great. Didn't give a fuck. You go in thinking, yeah, I don't want this to be all about, the first movie and, those actors. Let's show some progress. Let's move forward, all that bullshit. No, after a couple of minutes, you're like, I just want to see Ed Burns and Mike McGlone sitting in the chair or at the bar, whatever, having a few pops. I would pay to just watch them for an hour and a half. And so, and yeah, this was not a good movie, and yet it was perfectly, well, almost perfectly, because like I said, half of it could just be cut, perfectly engineered for me. I go in, smarmy. I'll show my support for Eddie Burns, but I'm going to roll my eyes the entire time. But the second the screen goes black, that white text comes up in that Garamond font or something, and that tin whistle starts popping. I'm like, boom, I'm here. You are scratching my belly. I want more, and I don't want this to stop. But now I'm worried between that and this anthology and it all syncing up, and I'm looking back on 30 years. Now I don't want to be, getting all sad about that. I love most of it. I don't want to be, that guy either. There's a lot of guys I don't want to be all of a sudden. When did this happen? I spend most of my day wishing I was some other guy. Now. And now all of a sudden I'm just popping them off. Nope. Boy, if you don't make that team, fellas, I don't know what to fucking tell you. So yeah, with those things happening, the 30-year thing, and then I'm like, well, are we just all looking for nostalgia anyway? The 90s are just perfect for this moment because, look, shit's crazy out there. I'm scared to look at the news. I don't think anybody loves it. And so we reached back to the 90s in particular because it was all in our minds anyway. I mean, I remember it. I was there. It wasn't, But it does seem like this, beige sweater of coziness wrapping itself in us. I don't know if that's unique or that's just like all of a sudden switch will flip or flip will switch. Flip the switch. Switch to flip. Flip the switch. Come on, goddammit. And then it's like, oh, now we're going to be nostalgic for 2005, which to someone my age is unfathomable, but I don't know how dry ice works, so what the fuck do I know? Anyway, that's just a long-winded way of saying it was a weird thing that had happened, the movie popping up, and it's one of these things I feel like it was served on a silver platter for me, like the first Beatles anthology, because they have the number 4 episode coming out next week. And I don't want to sprain my brain thinking of all of this connected somehow with a new version of nostalgia or whatever. I think it's all connected. I'm not smart enough to connect it myself, but I thought I would burden you people with it. Anyway, so that's it for that bullshit. Don't forget this season of Express Your Enthusiasm is brought to you by Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers, you're the one who took the wrong exit. You eat this shit. All right, let's get into the episode. Again, this is A Therapist from Season 6. Oh, damn, I'm sorry. I forgot to promise y'all a Mike McMullen story. Real quick. So this would be March 1999. I just moved to New York a year before. I was working at ProPrint on 5th and 19th in Manhattan, ladies. And, of course, I'd seen Roger McMullen, always loved it. And one day I'm just hanging out, walking up 5th Avenue. I was going somewhere, I don't know. Bebopping around 5th Avenue, and boom, there was Mike McMullen. He was, going somewhere, and I noticed he had a script in his hand, and I had to stop him. And he was still unfamous enough to kind of be amused or bemused. I was like, oh my God, I love you and Brothers McMullen, and she's the one, and I don't even know if he had done anything else. And he just stood there, he was very nice. He's very nice. Hey, great, thanks a lot, and whatever. And then I said, oh my, I love that scene when you say, fuck God. And he would laugh. And then I made him stand there on 5th Avenue while I acted out the scene. It must have been 30 seconds. In my head, it's like 10 minutes. Like 30 seconds. And he stood there, super nice guy, and acted like, he's a good actor. He was like, oh, yeah. I acted out the entire scene. He's trying to get away from me. No, he was very nice. I happened to have, that's why I was just picking up cards. I had little postcards for my band's show at the Continental that was coming up. That was my band's first show in New York. And so I gave him one of them. I said, hey, I got my show coming up in a couple of days. See you there. And he's like, yeah, I'll see you there. And I also remember I asked him about the script. I said, oh, I hope I didn't say, oh, hope you got something cooking with Ed Burns. And he said, oh, it's a new script called The Bone Collector, which he ended up doing with Denzel. So I'm 1 degree from Denzel, no big deal. So that's my Mike McMullen story. He stood there on Fifth Avenue while I acted out a scene from Brothers McMullen. Thanks, Mike McMullen. If you're out there listening to this, you probably are. Thanks, buddy. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about this episode according to whatever bullshit place I found. The therapist. Larry tries to use Cheryl's therapist to get back into her good graces after getting bad advice from his own. And Larry's miffed at Larry's miffed at Marty's participation level in an Alzheimer's walk. Fantastic. Last week, by the way, in the season opener for us, Larry went 5-2. Pretty non-combative episode. So let's see if he keeps it going here. Okay, if I'm going to be making $9 million a year doing this podcast, oops, $9 million. What? If I was going to make $9 million, wouldn't I make a bigger number? Even my dreams are fucking disappointing. Anyway, if I'm going to be shitting on Larry this whole time, I got to give him a little shout out when he does good. So the show, it opens up. He's meeting with Cheryl because, she left him and, he's trying to weasel, get her back. And he's got this whole, I've changed, whatever. Okay. But he does start to launch into one of his patented Larry David rants about tipping. And I think maybe for the only time ever on this show, maybe again in this episode if he keeps doing this thing with Cheryl, he catches himself. Cheryl says, "Oh, but you're wrong." He's about to go into Larry David mode, and he actually catches himself, shuts his fucking mouth for a second, because that's really all it takes, Larry David, and he corrects himself before he does a Larry David. It's unbelievable. You have to see it to believe it, is what I'm saying. So I get a little tip of the cap to Larry for that one before I tear him a new asshole, I'm sure, for the next 20 minutes, whatever. All right, anyway. Note to self. If I had the power to do such a thing, why would I choose ripping someone a new asshole? Why would I want another one of those? Okay, I don't want to keep breaking in with too many non-transgressions. Shit, am I back to using that word? Is that... Oh, the blast from the past. But, so now he's meeting with Steve Coogan, his therapist, and they mentioned they have a little question. If they go on a date, is it movie first and then dinner, or dinner first and then movie? And, of course, it's inconceivable why anybody would do dinner first and then movie. Obviously, you go to the movie first, and then so you have something to talk about over dinner. But it's funny that when you throw out the phrase is dinner and a movie. Like, nobody ever says movie and a dinner, or movie and dinner. It's always dinner and a movie, even though we all kind of know the opposite is true in terms of what's actually going to be happening. That's very interesting. All right, we have the first confrontation, really, of the episode. At 9 minutes in, I don't know, that might be a record. Things are going swimmingly for Larry with Cheryl. He's doing everything right. But, of course, his therapist had told him to give her an ultimatum. She has till Monday to decide, to come back to him, whatever. Larry, you're an idiot for listening to this other idiot. Things were going great. Why you would all of a sudden need to, put your boot heel on her throat at this moment is ridiculous. You're down 0-1 this episode. But it did occur to me, I assume most people assume that, yeah, Larry's married to Cheryl and whatever, but he's so self-centered himself, it's hard to imagine him actually loving her. I mean, they had this late marriage. They're kind of a strange couple anyway. And again, Larry's Larry, so I'm sure in the back of a lot of people's heads, it's like, well, you'd be surprised if he gave a shit if they did break up. But here they have broken up. And if you didn't know any better and were just watching Larry talk about, he would change, he's changing everything for her, he'll do scuba diving for her, he just wants to do it with her. And you start thinking, I mean, I'm not here to shit on Cheryl or whatever, but why is he so crazy to get back with her when there's nothing real? It's not like they have kids, they're not young where they're idealistic or whatever. Again, he's Larry David, but he seems to legitimately love and be in love with Cheryl to the point where you would question it. But what would the real reason be? Again, there's no kids. I'm sure he's worried about a divorce settlement, but that's always, if it was $2, he's going to complain about that. So it's almost touching and endearing. From what you'd witness in this episode, I think Larry actually loves Cheryl. So if there's any doubt in your mind, not in mine, no problem. Just bringing it up. But Larry starts out 0-1. You fucked up, bro. Come on now. Okay, now Larry, of course, is confronting Steve Coogan, and he's screaming at him, "You fucked me over, blah, blah, blah." And it's like, I know you want to blame the first idiot, but when some idiot gives you that bad advice and you know it and you fucked it up, you just never need to see that person again. For him to even go to this guy's office, you just need to pretend that never fucking happened. You need to work on moving forward. So now we see, so that's Owen. He's 0-2 now for this episode. Now he's going to drag Steve Coogan into some shenanigans to try to fool Cheryl's therapist. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, 0-2 for Larry David right now. Oh, and because this may be important later, we see Funkhauser. R.I.P. Funk. We miss you. We love you. And it turns out his father, as I said in the description, has Alzheimer's, and he's doing a walkathon for his dad for Alzheimer's. I think he's against it. And so, of course, Larry and Cheryl were sitting there, and because, of course, the laws of Curb Your Enthusiasm are such that if Larry David leaves his house, he has to bump into somebody he knows. So they're sitting there, and Funk Man just walks up to him, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I think that'll come in important later. And also, I just wanted to talk about how much I love and miss Marty Funkhauser. Okay, now Larry literally drags Steve Coogan to Cheryl's house. And, of course, she's there standing at the door when he knocks on it, because apparently people just stay at their homes all day. And he wants Steve Coogan to tell Cheryl it was his dumb idea, and he's responsible. And it was going fine, but then Larry got upset because Coogan was like, he's partly responsible. And Larry was insisting he takes 100% of the blame. And Coogan's like, okay, you're right. And I got to side with Coogan, or his name's Bright, but I'm calling him Coogan. Fuck him. Larry has to take some accountability. Larry, you're an idiot for doing it. So Larry can't try to make him throw him totally under the bus. I don't know why I can't talk all of a sudden. But that's a quick 0-3 for this episode. So now, on top of that, they get in a fight because I guess Bright's taking credit for the new Larry. And Larry's upset because he's like, I invented the new Larry because the new Larry has been working with Cheryl. Who gives a fuck, Larry? You kind of have a win up to this point. Just get the motherfucker out of the house. She sat there and she agreed, okay, I understand this dumb fucking idiot came up with a dumb idea. Leave the house, Larry, because now you're just fucking it all up. That's another loss. 0-4, motherfucker. Shit. He's 5-6 for the season. Larry just went under 500, y'all. It's not a donkey, by the way. That was supposed to be like alarms going off. I do voice work as well, Disney. I do voice work, Disney. All right, it's Leon time. I feel like we haven't heard from Leon in 100 years. So Larry and this idiot Coogan are setting up a brilliant scheme where Leon's going to mug Cheryl's therapist, and Larry's going to happen to be there and chase him down and be a hero grabbing the purse, and that's going to win Cheryl back, I guess. And Leon's like, great, no problem. And he's talking about it. He's like, I'm going to fuck you up to make it believable. And Larry's like, no, And they're fighting about that. And I gotta say, yeah, come on. You can't be beating the fuck out of Larry David. I mean, even though at this point he's like maybe he's 60. He is 60, 2007. I can't believe I fucking know that. But he does look like he has the body and bones of Moses. And I don't mean Moses in his prime. I mean Moses now. You can't fuck him up. And maybe I'm just feeling sorry for Larry, and I'm going to give him that win. So congratulations, Larry. 1-4. And don't forget, this season 4 of Xmas Your Enthusiasm is brought to you by Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers, you're the one who took the wrong exit. You eat the shit. Special Xmas time break-in. I've been giving Steve Coogan a lot of shit, but the scene where he tries to do the mugging and he immediately gets caught by the cops. I mean, the physical comedy of that. Something about the choreography of the whole scene. I don't even know if that's a thing. Capped off. It's one of my all-time favorites of the entire series. So, now Larry's at the walkathon, and of course he instantly runs into Jeff and Funkhauser, and he's pissed at the Funk Man because the Funk Man's just sitting there enjoying brunch or some shit, and Larry's yelling at him because he's like, I thought it was implied that you would be doing the walking for this, and Funk's like, fuck you, I didn't. And I hate to do it because I love me some Funkhauser. But I got to side with Larry on this one. That there is a, very implicit, you're going to be the one doing the walking. It's not even an implication. It's even, stronger than that. It's like concrete. That doesn't make fucking sense. But you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, Funk Man. I love you, bro. But, bro. Oh, jeez. I got to give the win to Larry there. Congrats, Larry. 2-4. 2-4. Again, Steve Coogan, the scene, him leaving the jail, I don't know if he had any influence or I'm just an idiot. I never noticed these things. Something about the choreography. I don't know why I'm saying that. That's not the right. The way they shoot this scene, just really great. Just makes it even funnier. Again, I got to give credit. Well, I don't know if he had anything to do with it, but great scene again with Steve Coogan. All right, and that's it for the episode. If you want to find out what happens, watch the fucking episode yourself. I'm not holding y'all's hand for this one. Great episode, really funny. There was only 6 run-ins. Again, a paucity of run-ins this, look it up, this season with Larry. Anyway, I do have a beef. It is a crime that they had Funkhauser and Leon sitting there, and all we got is like maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes total screen time. That's a fucking crime. That's outrageous. And Vivica A. Fox, she had one incredible line. She was hilarious. But, so anyway, 2-4 for Larry, and that brings him up for the season to 7-6, so he is above 500. 7-6, so that is The Therapist. Thanks for listening, everybody. And don't forget, this season of Xmas Your Enthusiasm is brought to you by Roy Rogers. Roy Rogers, you're the one who took the wrong exit. You eat the shit. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.